Today, we're visiting the Lyman and Merrie Museum of Springfield History, part of the Springfield Museums in Springfield, Massachusetts. Esta Manthos Indian Motorcycle collection was donated to the Springfield Museums in 2006.
Americana Project, 21st century. Telling the story of America, one town at a time.
In 1907, the Hendy Manufacturing Company, later to become Indian Motocycles, introduced a loop frame that mounted the engine much lower down. Heavier and more powerful, these motorbike appealed to racers, sportsmen, and thrill-seekers alike. As the company grew, the wigwam, the name workers used for the factory in Springfield where they produced the bikes, became the largest and most innovative motorcycle manufacturer in the world. By 1913, they produced more than 32,000 Indian motorcycles each year. Carl Oskar Hedström was a Swedish immigrant who grew up in Brooklyn, New York. While pursuing his interest in bicycle racing, he trained as a toolmaker. He competed professionally in the 1890s. One of his designs was a motorized tandem pacing bike. Fellow racer George Hendy was intrigued and built his first motorcycle in his Middletown, Connecticut plant, the Worcester Cycle Manufacturing Company. He brought his design to Springfield and then served as the chief engineer and designer of Indian motorcycles until he retired in 1913. George M. Hendy was the leading American bicycle racer of the 1880s, winning 302 of the 309 races he entered. After his retirement from racing, he became involved in the bicycle manufacturing business, first as a representative for established companies, then manufacturing his own Silver King bicycles in Springfield, Massachusetts. On display here are some of the awards he won while racing. They're all part of the largest collection of Indian motorcycles and memorabilia in the world. From its beginning in 1902, Indian Motorcycles built all their bikes with a chain final drive. In 1911, to be more price competitive, the company began producing a cheaper-to-produce belt drive, similar to Harley-Davidson and other makers in that first decade. However, Harley-Davidson, in 1912, finally switched to chain drive, and soon all manufacturers did the same. Indian belt drive bikes were only produced for 2 years, and therefore are fairly rare to find. Some other features of this bike was the 2-speed transmission, as well as a magneto ignition. In 1909, Harley-Davidson introduced the Model 5, named referencing the 5th year of Harley-Davidson production. The 5 was the first Harley model offering multiple variations. The 5 and 5A featured 28-inch wheels and battery, or magneto ignition. The 5B and 5C came with 26-inch wheels and the same choice of ignition. The 5D introduced the first Harley V-twin engine, but only 27 examples were built due to poor performance. The first motobike produced in the U.S. was made in 1896 by the California Company of San Francisco. The Californian, as it was known, won fame here and abroad. In 1902, an Ohio company, Consolidated Manufacturing, bought the California Company and moved their assets to Ohio, where they began manufacturing the Yale motorcycles, mimicking the design of the Californian. The first actual Yale motorcycle, featuring a 3.5 horsepower single-cylinder model, was introduced in 1909. In 1910, a twin was added, but this model had a design flaw which resulted in numerous broken frames. The later 1910 version, known as the 1910 1/2 model, like the one seen here, has the horizontal top frame. Fuel was carried in the distinctive cylinder slung under the top frame, while a large canister set aside the handlebar contained acetylene for powering the headlamp. Another notable feature included the engine's final drive uses a chain rather than a rear-wheel pulley. With World War I escalating in Europe, the Consolidated Manufacturing Company stopped making the Yale bikes and began producing shrapnel for the war effort. Introduced in 1916, the Indian Power Plus was the first side valve designed for Indian. After Cannonball Baker, in 1915, won the Three Flags Endurance Run from Vancouver to Tijuana in a record 3 days, 9 hours and 15 minutes, a 1,650-mile trip on dirt roads, he proved conclusively that the Power Plus was a tough machine. Production of a larger Power Plus engine ended in 1924, the year production began on its replacement, the Chief. The Power Plus was renamed the Standard, emphasizing that the Chief was the more powerful of the two. The Standard was discontinued a year later. The Indian Model Zero, also known as the Indian Light Twin or Model Nothing, was introduced in 1917. It replaced the Model K, or the Featherweight, which had a single-cylinder two-stroke engine, and replaced it with a flathead flat-twin engine, which was mounted with its cylinders along the line of the frame. The Model Zero was designed as an entry-level motorcycle to attract young riders. However, with America's entry in World War I, Indian production switched to producing military motorcycles. This, along with the inexpensive production of the Ford Model T, the Model Zero was discontinued only 2 years later.
This ends Part 1. Look for a link in the description for Parts 2 and 3. Part 2 highlights some of the bikes on display in the museum. Part 3 shares Indian stories, including the story of Charles and Esta Manthos, who donated most of the Indian items in the museum, as well as other famous Indian motorcycle riders, and the story of the demise of Indian manufacturing.
Hey, thank you for watching my video. If you like it, please hit that like button. If you want to see some more, you also should hit that subscribe button. That helps me out a lot. But if you liked it, share it, because I'm sure your friends would too. This is Om. We'll see you next in time.